What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
Black Mirror Season 5 just came out on Netflix, only 3 episodes, but overall it's one of my favorite franchises of shows. Very similar to the Twilight Zone, but more focused on technology. I recently talked about the new Twilight Zone reboot and watched the full season of that, which I definitely enjoyed. But now that Black Mirror's back, I see the levels. I enjoy Black Mirror quite a bit more. I think the quality of storytelling is a little bit better. I really enjoy the focus on technology. So just overall, it's similar, but I enjoy it a little bit more. So the 3 episodes, first episode being Striking Viper. It's about 2 friends, 2 old college buddies who meet up, and one of them is like, hey, gets him a gift, like, hey, here's this VR game. We should totally play it. It'll blow your mind, blah, blah, blah. So it's, in the Black Mirror world, they don't have to go crazy on stuff. It's just little thing you put on your head, and you're jacked in. And so they play this game, and it's like a Mortal Kombat kind of a virtual reality game, that they had played in the past, apparently. But this is the first time where it's like virtual reality, where they're in the thing, and it's looked like the look of it's really cool. The acting's a little bit questionable, a little weird. They both play one of the dudes. They're both black dudes. One of them chooses an Asian chick, and the other one chooses an Asian dude. And while they're in the video game, they start fighting, and in the fight, they get to tussling, they get to rolling around, they get to wrestling, they get to making out. Which is like, so it's the episode is very much about how technology and games and when we're able to jack into these virtual worlds, how that's going to change sexuality. Because one of them's, I believe the show portrays them both to be heterosexual males in the real world, but his friend, who convinces him to join this thing, is like, this is the only way he can get off. It's like he's tried everything, and he's been with all kinds of different people, but being with his friend in the video game is the only way that he reaches another level of a pleasure when he's with his friend as these characters. So it's like he's like a straight dude, but he's playing a woman, but as that in the game, it's just a very unique thing. It's really weird. I think it's the best of the 3 episodes, Striking Vipers. It's just super interesting. There's a part in the episode where they meet in real life to see if, the spark is there in the real world, or if it's just something that's in the virtual world, because they eventually get addicted to, meeting up in these games, which is going to happen. Is totally going to happen. So the end of the episode resolves itself when, he comes clean to his wife after, getting arrested because he gets in a fight with his friend after finding out that they don't really have any kind of sexual connection in the real world. It's only in the thing. So they come to a conclusion where once a year, they both get their free pass day, where he can jack into the game and have fun with his friend, and then she can go have her fun. I believe in the real world. They exchange boxes, and I think she had. I don't know, but super interesting. Really enjoyed that episode. The second episode, Smithereens. This is kind of based in the UK. How social media addiction is kind of handled is interesting. It's a Lyft or a rideshare driver in the UK who's trying to kidnap somebody that works at a tech company in the UK called Smithereens, and wants to kidnap them so he can get in contact with the CEO, so he can explain to the CEO how him making the app so addictive in so many ways, which all these apps are basically doing that. They're trying every way possible to get your attention to stay on their application for as long as possible. So it's coming to grips with that when it causes death, because it's like people driving are always on their phones. It is disgusting how much people are on their phones, especially rideshare drivers. You have to be on your phone because you're literally using the phone to do your work. But as far as just regular everyday people are on their fucking phones all the time. When I used to walk around in Denver, I would just, you can, see inside cars and just everybody's on their fucking phone. So this one kind of comes to grips with that. It also, I find very interesting because it takes place in the UK. A gun is involved, and in the UK, guns are illegal, and they're very hard to come by, which is also something that was touched on in the movie Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels that I talked about last week. But I found it how they handle the situation in the UK. I don't know how accurate that is, but it seems much more like just more civilized than so much of what happens in this country. But that was a super interesting episode. It had the CEO of Smithereens is on like a silent retreat out in Utah, played by the kid from that 70s show, and I thought he was great in it. I just thought overall super interesting story, and then how you find out what his purpose is for the whole kidnapping and everything. But it's very much shows, just kind of puts the idea of phone addiction into a different kind of perspective, I would say. And then the third episode, Rachel, Jack, and Ashley 2, was the weakest, I thought. I still enjoyed it. It's still interesting. It's the one with Miley Cyrus, where she plays basically like a Miley Cyrus type. She's an entertainer. They come out with a doll that is like a version of her, so she can talk to all of her fans and get, interact with her fans and all that kind of stuff. But in this world, in this future, Miley Cyrus's brain was downloaded into all of these dolls, and there was just a limiter put on it, so she was only able to function mildly and interact mildly with her fans. But when her manager and the record label tried to silence her and basically just jack her in, knock her out, come up with a story, put her in a coma, that way they can just extract music directly from her brain. And there's a producer that just has to turn a little knob here and there and make this crazy sounds that are coming out of her head, turn that into music, which is all. I mean, there's this episode reminded me of. I mean, just it had more of a comedy, like a dark comedy kind of tone to it, but also reminded me of a lot of those like teen kind of comedy movies because there's these two girls, one of which is, dark and doesn't like Miley Cyrus's character and think it's all bullshit. And then there's the other daughter, the sister, that, is totally into her and gets the doll and is a huge fan. And, they kind of have a disagreement about it, but they end up teaming up because they need to go save Miley Cyrus's character from the coma that she's in. And it's interesting premise, especially to see like the wet dream that all the record companies would love, to just have an artist just extract their brain and their creativity somehow from the creative center of their brain and just have that, kind of cut out the middleman of the human that's involved with being the artist, and just extracting those ideas straight from the brain, and how they would, basically do the Tupac thing, the VR kind of hologram version of the artist instead. But I thought the concept was interesting. The execution wasn't good. Miley Cyrus's performance was it was questionable at times, good at times, and I don't know, the weakest of the three. But I still enjoyed the episode, and I love all the Black Mirror episodes. Hope they keep doing them. But yeah, season 2. Great stuff. New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out daily. Subscribe everywhere podcasts are found. InspiredDisorder.com for all of my artwork. Use coupon code INSPIRED to save 10% at Ray Taylor for me on all social media. Have a great day. Peace out.